Ta-da!
What kind of system are you suggesting?
What kind of system am I suggesting? So many ideas. I mean, I would suggest a system where people understand that their economies are to take care of each other and not to alienate money to somebody else. I would like systems where people believe in ideas of solidarity, where you believe that it's regardless of what you are contributing, as it were, you should get paid. I believe that everybody has a right to a basic minimum livelihood. I believe that we should create a system where you should not say that money is what motivates you to work, but what motivates you to work is your love for other people and your love for working, and that we all get paid just about the same amount because we need money to exchange things with each other. I believe in that kind of system.
So if we're all getting paid about the same, then where is my incentive if I'm a doctor to be a great doctor?
Your incentive, my friend, to be a great doctor is you want to feel good about yourself.
Right,
you want
but I
people
also
to
want to
respect
get paid
you.
more
Let
than
me
the
tell you
guy
something. I have
Doesn't
100
that make
years
sense?
of education. Okay, I have more education than most of you except some of you combined. Okay? I have a PhD, I have MAs, I have all these degrees. That doesn't mean that I
And
got...
you probably get paid a lot more than somebody that merely has a bachelor.
Not necessarily, my God.
Isn't
I
that the
graduate students, they take a BA and they leave college and get more than me. Why? Because in this system, you can get a BA degree from the college I teach at, and you used to be able to go immediately to work for Goldman Sachs, and you'll make double what I make. Why do people like me work? Why does somebody work in second grade? I met a second grade teacher. Why the hell would you work in second grade today in America? Where essentially, not only do you not get paid, you get disrespected by everybody. Not only that, by the way, worse than that, the entire collapse of the system in America is now on the shoulders of teachers. It's teachers who have to deal with the fact that in a home there is a crisis and they need to be taking care of children. It's teachers that have to deal with dysfunctional lives.
Right.
Why would you pay? Why? Because they love the children. Why? Because they want respect for themselves. They want to be able to live in their skin. The reason we should work is we want ourselves. When I look in the mirror, I say, I have done something. I am happy with myself today. Not, I have $20 billion, which I don't have any fucking time to spend.
What political ideology is your opinion based on?
Pardon?
What political ideology is your opinion based on?
I'm a socialist. So it's socialism. But really, I tell you, my ideology is based on the following. I believe in rationality. I believe that everything I've said to you is utterly rational. Now, you might think it's crazy, but you can argue with me based on rationality, not by saying it's crazy, because I never said anything anybody said is crazy. So I believe that socialism is rational, and I'm always happy to discuss it rationally, because I can rationally put out to you that it is the only system where actually people's needs are going to be tended to. Because this system, which we are too scared to actually challenge, is utterly irrational.
Thank you.
Our four,
Let's have somebody from this side. Yes.
In 1960, I declared myself to be a revolutionary socialist that I'm still one today. I look at it as class warfare, the capitalist class and the working class. And it needs to be organized working class, which I hope will come about one day, to make a revolution, have a workers' government, the democratic dictatorship of the working class. We have the democratic dictatorship of the capitalists. They have dictatorship. So I'm totally against capitalism, working class dictatorship, world revolution, against capitalism and imperialism.
It'll come someday. We're waiting for it. Someday it'll come. Anybody else? Yes.
In the meantime, we really need to continue to organize to try to connect the economic issues and the militarism. And I think that the movements need to go in that direction to get more education, like you're talking about, to understand that war is how they impose their power. And that is how they maintain their power. And they use police at home and war abroad, and soldiers. So here at Occupy Boston, there's a group of us that want to try to get going an anti-war committee that would work on the issues of connecting the war, repression, austerity, militarism, all of the above, racism. And I just want to pass around a sign-up sheet for any of you who are interested in working working on that, and we're going to have some organizing meetings and educational. What we want to do is have education and action, direct action. Both of those things I think are essential.
Yes.
You said you consider a lot of the occupied sites, and I was curious, like based on your study of some capacity of advice for the Occupy organizers today about what you see in the future in 20 months, for example, and what they need.
This is what we were discussing earlier. I have some practical advice.
Question, please.
Practical. Do you have any advice for the movement in that, in the short term? First advice I have is declare victory. Immediately declare victory. A declaration should emerge saying the fact that we have everybody now talking about inequality, the fact that we have everybody talking about system failure, that needs to be declared. That's a huge victory. Never before. Maybe,
You have to say your Financial Times quote again.
yeah.
Who's talking about system failure?
Oh my God. The Vatican newspaper yesterday.
Because everyone reads the Vatican.
Fine. Okay, good point. The Vatican newspaper. But by the way, there are, what is it, almost 1 billion Catholics. That means that in many pulpits, priests are going to be talking about what they read in the Vatican paper. That's how it works. So in the world of Catholicism, this is a huge thing. This Pope has always talked about income inequality. But this is the first time they've said, boom. Financial Times editorial said Occupy Wall Street has raised the din of inequality in America. That was its phrase, the din of inequality. Yeah, they can write well in the FT. Okay, so the FT, amazing, by the way. Okay, one second. Then the New York Times. Thomas Friedman is talking about inequality in America. Nicholas Kristof, he's a, whatever he's saying, today he said inequality in America, Wall Street compared to Silicon Valley. He's gone back to his old ways, okay, the two canyons. But still they're talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't listen to the radio now. I was listening to The Heat, the hip-hop station on Sirius Satellite. And they spent like an hour talking about Kanye West's visit to Occupy Wall Street. But the whole conversation was not Kanye West, it was about inequality. So that is there.
Inequality, I agree with, not necessarily systemic failure. And those are two very separate things. You can have inequality given a system.
Yeah,
or
fine.
you can have-
But you know what? I would say declare victory. Because guess what? 4 News or whatever, Fox News, there's a big sign, 4 News over there, no longer can dominate the conversation. This is a change in the conversation. So I would declare victory. That's a huge thing. Secondly, I would say at some point, Occupy sites, especially in New England and in the northern part of the country, need to say X date, we are going to go away and we're coming back on tax day next year. Because you cannot leave because the snow falls. You cannot leave in defeat. We have to leave in victory.
You have to declare.
We declare we are leaving, and by the way, we're coming back on April 15th.
Bring your tax.
We're coming back to protest the tax policy in the country. So that's, I would say that. Then I would say have fun. Okay, I say demand the impossible, correct. But by the way, some real demands should be there. My favorite demand is resignation of Timothy Geithner. No occupation site should not demand somebody's resignation. That's the lowest form of demand. And maybe Mayor Menino.
Oh yeah.
Resignation of Menino, resignation of Geithner. Yeah.
So, I mean, surely when Thomas Friedman and Nicholas Kristof are on your side, you need to change your game a little.
Yes.
Then the minute the Financial Times and the New York Times agrees with me, I know I need to start changing the tune. So if what they're saying is they've raised the voice of inequality and now everyone's talking about inequality, that's obviously a success. That's not victory. That means then some new thought has to emerge that differentiates this from something Friedman and Kristof and the Financial Times want to celebrate.
Every declaration of victory is the opening of a new struggle.
But you can't declare victory in fact.
You must declare some victories. Because this momentum needs to be captured. It is very important that we recognize when a victory is a victory. Now, victories are not final. Victories are provisional. Victories are the beginning of more struggle. If you don't declare victory, you will be demoralized. You have to declare victory. I think declaration of victory is more important than framing concrete demands.
So after we declare victory, I was wondering if a logical next step would be to start actually taking some practical steps towards organizing solidarity economies, perhaps war tax resistance, and taking that money and visibly and transparently redirecting it towards a camp or to solidarity needs of people who are involved in this.
But you're already doing that. I mean, in New Haven, for instance, a few years ago, a group of people created the Free Store. They were following the model of the San Francisco Free Store, created by the diggers of San Francisco. You know, where you just come and take and you give things. They've moved the Free Store into Occupy New Haven. So it sits at the center of the camp. They have all kinds of ideas. Getting old bicycles, teaching people how to repair them, creating trailers, delivering goods to people from the Free Store, collecting things from, a trash day, etc. People are putting in place these solidarity economies at a low level. But it's already happening here. 6 people are washing, 3 people are cutting, somebody is there doing this, taking trash. It's very important. It's already occurring.
Do you see as doing it on a larger scale something that should happen in the near term?
Scale is not important immediately. Scale is something that happens. It's happening here, it's happening in Hartford, it's happening in Providence, it's happening in many places. People are experimenting. People are getting to know the fact that they can work cooperatively. These are all openings for various people. That it's important. These take time. Cannot be impatient. Struggles take a long time to germinate. That so many people have decided to get together and to experiment in such a deep way is something to celebrate. Now, the momentum question is important. The morale question is important because no struggle is immediately going to actually win something dramatic. Okay, this is not Egypt. Mubarak is not going to go. This system is far more tentacular than that. There's not just one, and even in Egypt, Mubarak is gone, but the security state is not dismantled. Struggles take a long time. Cannot be impatient. Nothing is going to happen like this. The problem with the way we see the Arab Spring is the media has given it to us like a television show. There's a beginning and then there's an end. Today in Tunisia they had an election. So it's all over, people. But by the way, we already have elections. How does it help us? So this is not a struggles take generations. The thing is to become long distance runners, to put this momentum into place, to be patient, to be deep, serious about the problems that afflict us. If we are superficial about it, we can either be disappointed or we can believe that change has come. But we have to be patient. And I think we should counsel each other to be patient. That is why I think it's important to say, this is the date we're going and this is the date we're coming back. Because this may take 20 years. 20 years in the scheme of things, not a long time. Yeah.
At what level, when you talk about system failure, can we actually talk about an economic system failure without also acknowledging the failure of the nation-state system? I mean, that's an incredibly long-term idea, but you're a professor of international studies, so I wonder just at what level is this a failure of nation-states, and what does that mean for how we gather as people and how we organize ourselves into communities instead?
I mean, the states system is both a failure in general, but it's a very much reality. Now, every few days you have new people wanting to create states. So it's hard to actually completely revise it in the very short term. But I think the immediate thing one needs to do to work towards a much more holistic planet is for us to get our society, one of the most powerful militaries in the world, to respect international law. Because the beginning of a process to create interdependence among nations is if all nations are given the confidence to respect law. If the most powerful military in the world is allowed not to respect international law, how can you expect others to respect international law? So that's a huge task for us as we build in the next 20, 25 years, is to force the state to come to terms with the fact that international law is important. Now, it's not going to accept international law. but it has to be an important part of our demand structure. It is not itself. This system is not capable of respecting international law, but we have to constantly criticize its violations. You know, it's not just enough to have amnesty reports about Burma, amnesty reports about elsewhere. Where is the amnesty report about these violations? Yes.
I guess the question about international law I have is like, who actually creates the international laws? Because I think when you look at, I mean, whether it's the IMF or the UN or the international institutions that we have, it seems like, I mean, just as we have the 99% against the 1% that have the power, here in the international system we have the 1% who are making inevitably the international laws. Whether they respect them or not, they're also creating the norms and the laws that, you know, the rest of the international society is under.
Yeah, but there have been huge changes in human history. I mean, the fact that after World War II, there was the ability of new nations to come around a table and frame